The Dallas Cowboys are living through one of the most surprising wide receiver transformations in the entire NFL. And the center of it all is George Pickens, a player who arrived in Dallas with questions, with noise, with criticism, and with a reputation that wasn't always positive. But today, Pickens has become one of the most dominant and efficient receivers in the league, and the numbers behind his breakout tell a story that Pittsburgh Steelers fans might not want to hear. When the Cowboys made the offseason trade to bring Pickens to Arlington, the move didn't immediately receive universal praise. Dallas had already committed heavily to CeeDee Lamb, the offensive identity was centered on Dak Prescott, and many believed that Pickens would simply be another talented name in the rotation. But that assumption didn't last long. From week one, it was clear the Cowboys had added a player with extraordinary potential, someone who didn't just fit the system but elevated it. This season, Pickens has delivered 67 catches, 1,054 yards, and 8 touchdowns. Those numbers are not only impressive, they are historic compared to what the Pittsburgh Steelers have managed without him. In fact, Pickens is nearly outproducing the entire Steelers' wide receiver corps combined. Pittsburgh receivers have totaled 1,082 yards this season, with DK Metcalf as their best performer at 42 catches for 573 yards and 5 touchdowns. When a single player is matching an entire franchise's production at the position, the analysis becomes clear. Pittsburgh made a mistake, and Dallas capitalized. Pickens' dominance doesn't just show up in raw stats. It shows in the rhythm of the Dallas offense. When the Cowboys need an explosive play, when the coverage tightens, and when Dak Prescott needs a moment of magic, Pickens has become the answer. Dak knows it too. When speaking about his receiver, Prescott delivered one of the most powerful compliments a quarterback can give. "He isn't from here. He isn't from this planet. We lucked up getting a guy like that, and we've got to keep him here." That statement tells you everything about Pickens' role in Dallas. He is no longer just part of the offense, he is becoming the identity of it. But the story isn't complete unless we talk about Pickens' past. Before becoming the hero in Dallas, Pickens had a turbulent experience with the Steelers. He recently reflected on that time in a piece he wrote for the Players' Tribune. In it, he admitted that he wasn't perfect. His own words were honest and direct. "I was still a kid. I made some mistakes. I'll own that. I let my emotions get the best of me." This level of reflection matters. It shows growth. It shows maturity. And it is part of why Cowboys fans have embraced him so quickly. In Pittsburgh, Pickens was labeled emotional, inconsistent, and sometimes a distraction. In Dallas, he has become the opposite, disciplined, explosive, and focused. Part of that is coaching. Part of it is maturity. But a big part of it is the opportunity to be valued. Still, with all of these successes, the Cowboys face a major question: how do they keep him? Pickens is headed toward free agency. If Dallas doesn't extend him or use the franchise tag, they risk losing a player who has transformed their offense. The franchise tag seems like the minimum option, but the smarter move would be securing him long term. The chemistry between Dak and Pickens is too strong to gamble with. You don't replace playmakers like this, especially not after watching him outproduce your rival's entire receiving group. From the Steelers' perspective, the regret is obvious. They traded away an ascending superstar and have struggled to replace his production. Their numbers prove it. Their consistency proves it. Their offensive stagnation proves it. What seemed like a reasonable move in the offseason now looks like one of the biggest mistakes of the year. Meanwhile, the Cowboys are benefiting from every angle. Pickens isn't just putting up yards, he's shifting defensive alignments, opening up space for the run game, and giving Dak Prescott a reliable deep threat that defenses cannot ignore. That impact shows up on film week after week. When defenses commit extra attention to Pickens, it opens lanes for other receivers. When they don't, he torches them. This is why the narrative around Dallas is changing. Instead of depending solely on CeeDee Lamb, the Cowboys now have two dangerous receiving threats, one established, one rising into superstardom. And for a team pushing for playoffs, that balance is crucial. As the season continues, Pickens will be one of the most important players on the Dallas roster. Not just because of numbers, but because of timing, impact, and the energy he brings. He converted a questionable trade into a franchise-changing moment. He turned criticism into productivity. And he transformed doubt into dominance. The Cowboys needed a playmaker. Pickens needed a fresh start. Both sides got exactly what they needed. As we move toward the final stretch of the season, the biggest questions remain. Can Pickens maintain this pace? Will the Cowboys make a deep playoff run? And will Jerry Jones do the right thing, sign Pickens long-term and keep the Dak Pickens connection alive? Those answers will define the Cowboys' future. But one thing is already certain. The Steelers made a mistake. The Cowboys did not. And George Pickens is proving that every single week. Welcome to Cowboys headquarters. Make sure to turn on subscription. The night in Dallas feels heavy with tension, because the fourth quarter has turned this game into a dramatic test of heart. The scoreboard shows Cowboys 31, Chiefs 21 with 3:43 left in regulation, but no one in the stadium is relaxed, not with Patrick Mahomes still standing on the opposite sideline. And moments ago, almost like a movie script, Mahomes escaped not once but twice from what looked like certain sacks. He rolled out to the right, drifting further and further as the pocket collapsed behind him. Then with the same calmness he always carries, he spotted Xavier Worthy streaking open downfield. The ball left his hand with that familiar Mahomes touch, high, drifting, perfectly weighted. Worthy caught it in stride, a clean 42-yard gain that sliced the Cowboys' momentum instantly. Just like that, the Chiefs were in the red zone, flashing danger signs everywhere. The stadium's volume dipped. Everyone felt that sudden punch of anxiety. Mahomes had reminded Dallas that the game is far from finished. But rewind the clock slightly, and you find one of the strangest moments of the night. Before that Mahomes escape, Dallas had added a critical field goal. It came after George Pickens, who had been brilliant all game, put the ball on the turf. For a split second, the entire stadium froze. 4 Chiefs defenders surrounded the ball, perfectly positioned to recover it. But somehow, none of them reacted. No dive, no swipe, no urgency. Instead, it was Turpin who shot forward like a bullet, falling on the loose ball before anyone else could move. A massive sigh of relief washed across the Cowboys' sideline, because that play could have changed everything. Brandon Aubrey then stepped up and calmly chipped in a 26-yard field goal, pushing the Cowboys into 2-score territory. A simple kick, but in a moment like this, it carried the weight of the season. Cowboys 31, Chiefs 21. And yet, this fourth quarter only became wild after Dallas took over the game earlier in the final period. Their shift in control started with a defensive stand, forcing a Kansas City punt, and then, on the very first offensive play from their own 10-yard line, came one of the biggest throws of the night. Dak Prescott dropped back, saw CeeDee Lamb sprinting in a one-on-one matchup, and decided to trust his star receiver completely. He launched a 51-yard bomb that dropped perfectly into Lamb's arms. The stadium exploded. That single play felt like a turning point, not just because of the yards gained, but because of the message it sent. Dallas was not here to survive. They were here to win. On the very next sequence, Prescott found Ryan Flournoy on the sideline for another 17-yard gain. The Cowboys' offense had awakened fully, suddenly slicing through the Chiefs' defense with confidence. Everything felt smooth. Every player seemed sharper. Then came Pickens again, the fire starter of the night. Prescott hit him for a massive 39-yard gain, and Pickens electrified the entire stadium when he hurdled a defender mid-stride. The announcers shouted. Fans jumped to their feet. It wasn't just a big play, it was a highlight that will live long after this game ends. But the drama didn't stop there. Dallas found themselves inside the Kansas City 6-yard line, ready to finish the drive. A costly offensive pass interference penalty pushed them back 10 yards, then a short run gained only 2. The tension built, the pressure rose, but Prescott stayed calm. On the next snap, he hit Pickens on a short slant for 11 yards, bringing the ball right back into scoring range. And then, on third down, Prescott dumped it off to Williams. With clean blocking in front of him, Williams simply walked into the end zone untouched. The Cowboys had reclaimed the lead. Then, as if determined To complete the moment, Pickens made a delicate toe-tapping grab on the two-point conversion. It was the kind of play that only receivers with perfect balance and pure instinct can make. And it gave Dallas a 28-21 lead that shifted the stadium energy completely. That sequence felt like the heart of the fourth quarter. It represented every piece of what Dallas was tonight: bold, explosive, resilient. They had been tested throughout the game, but when it mattered most, they delivered. Now, with the clock winding down and the Chiefs threatening again, everything is building toward one final showdown. Mahomes isn't going away. He never does. But the Cowboys have shown they can strike, recover, and respond under pressure. Every snap now feels like it carries the weight of the entire season. Every fan is on their feet. Every glance toward the clock feels heavier than the last. The tension inside AT&T Stadium does not settle. If anything, it grows heavier as the Chiefs line up in the red zone after that unbelievable 42-yard strike to Xavier Worthy. Mahomes stands at the line of scrimmage, scanning the defense like a man searching for a weakness no one else can see. The Cowboys' defense spreads out, bracing for anything: a quick slant, a scramble, a rollout, even one of those trademark no-look tosses that Mahomes creates in impossible moments. The crowd becomes a mixture of fear and hope. They've seen Mahomes do this too many times. Leads mean almost nothing against him, especially in the fourth quarter, especially with momentum suddenly shifting. On first down, Mahomes takes the snap and immediately feels pressure. Parsons explodes off the edge, forcing Mahomes to hitch, then drift backward. He still gets the throw off, but it sails high and incomplete. The stadium roars, not because the play was special, but because any incompletion against Mahomes in the red zone feels like a victory. Second down. Mahomes again escapes pressure, rolling left this time. As he does, Dallas closes in, collapsing the angles. He tries to hit Kelsey on a late-breaking route toward the sideline, but Trayvon Diggs jumps it, swatting it away. 2 plays, 2 stops. But nobody relaxes, not yet. Mahomes on third down is dangerous beyond measure. He lines up deep in the shotgun, scanning patiently. The ball is snapped. He drops back. The Cowboys bring 5 rushers. Mahomes steps up, pump fakes, hesitates, and finally throws a dart toward the back of the end zone. For a split second, the Chiefs' sideline rises, believing it's the moment. But the ball is a half step too far. Incomplete. And just like that, a touchdown that felt inevitable becomes a field goal attempt. The Chiefs send out the kicking unit. The Cowboys' defense walks off the field, knowing they bent but didn't break. The kick goes up and through. The scoreboard changes again: Cowboys 31, Chiefs 24. A 7-point margin. 1 score. 1 mistake away from a tie. Now the weight shifts back to the Cowboys' offense. Prescott jogs onto the field, helmet tight, eyes locked. This is the kind of moment that defines a quarterback's night, protecting a lead with time bleeding slowly, painfully. He knows the Chiefs have life again. He knows Mahomes will get the ball back if the Cowboys don't close this drive with precision. And he knows that every play, every yard, every second matters. Dallas opens the drive cautiously. A run up the middle gains 3 yards. Another run to the left gets 2. 3rd and 5, a dangerous down. If they fail here, they risk giving Mahomes the ball with too much time. Prescott steps into the shotgun. Lamb motions across the formation. Pickens sets wide left. The ball is snapped. Prescott drops back, scanning. The pocket holds for a moment, then begins to collapse. Prescott steps up, sees Lamb breaking on an out route, and fires a tight spiral to the sideline. Lamb catches it cleanly and drags both feet. First down, Cowboys. The stadium erupts with a mixture of relief. But then, in the next sequence, the game nearly turns upside down. Prescott hands the ball to Pollard on a sweep to the right. Pollard takes 2 steps, then pitches it back to Pickens on a trick play. It's supposed to create space, misdirection, confusion. Instead, Pickens gets hit almost immediately. The ball pops out. It bounces on the turf. Pandemonium. Pickens, who has been electrifying all night, made one mistake, and it could cost them everything. The ball rolls toward midfield slowly, bouncing once, twice. 4 Chiefs defenders surround it, but none of them dive. None of them pounce. None of them even extend toward it. It feels unreal, like everyone froze for one impossible second. And then Turpin launches himself forward. He jumps on the ball, securing it against his chest before the Chiefs realize what they just let slip away. A collective gasp fills the stadium, followed by thunderous cheers. The Cowboys survive. The Chiefs miss the chance to flip the entire script. Prescott settles the team immediately. No panic. No hurry. He resets the offense, runs a safe inside handoff, then throws a controlled check down to Williams. They inch forward. Slowly. Purposefully. They don't need a touchdown, they just need points. Aubrey jogs onto the field once more, cool and unshaken. The snap. The hold. The kick. Straight down the middle. Cowboys extend the lead, 34-24. A 2-score gap. Time running out. The Chiefs on the edge. But the Cowboys know the game is not over. Not with Mahomes waiting. The Kansas City offense takes the field again, the urgency obvious. Mahomes throws a quick pass to Rice for 8 yards. Then another for 5. Then another to Kelsey, who surges forward for 11. The tempo increases with each snap. The Cowboys' defense is backpedaling, trying to hold the line. But then, in the next sequence, the game nearly turns upside down. Prescott hands the ball to Pollard on a sweep to the right. Pollard takes 2 steps, then pitches it back to Pickens on a trick play. It's supposed to create space, misdirection, confusion. Instead, Pickens gets hit almost immediately. The ball pops out. It bounces on the turf. Pandemonium. Pickens, who has been electrifying all night, made one mistake, and it could cost them everything. The ball rolls toward midfield slowly, bouncing once, twice. 4 Chiefs defenders surround it, but none of them dive. None of them pounce.